Hey everyone. In this video I want to talk to you about closure. This is one of the most suggested topics by you guys, so I figured it would be helpful to make an all-encompassing video on the topic of closure. And the first thing I want to say here is that you need to realize that you will only ever get closure from mature people. I'll say that again because it's incredibly important. You will only ever get closure from mature people. So what does that mean? Don't expect it from just anyone. People who are emotionally mature and just overall more mature than the average person, they're the ones who will care about you enough, they will care about not hurting you enough that they will actually give you closure. But anyone else, people who haven't done that inner work, they aren't going to care about giving you closure because they're going to be thinking more about their own ego, protecting themselves, but also they're probably going to think that they're going to hurt you if they give you closure. So they'll also use that as an excuse to not give it to you. I mean, I've had that happen to myself where women just I've been ghosted before, plenty of times online, but even once with a woman who I had a history with. So that sucked. And she didn't give me closure because she thought she was going to hurt me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you know who I am. You know I'm the kind of guy who would much rather know than just be left in the dust. But people will quite often, people who aren't emotionally mature won't give you closure because they'll be afraid of hurting you. So yeah, that's one of the more common things, and it's annoying. It's an excuse. Usually it's because they're afraid of confrontation and a bunch of other things, but basically don't expect closure from anyone who hasn't done a lot of inner work on themselves. So now that that's out of the way, you have to get to a place where you don't need closure. Because let's face it, the vast majority of people in life are not mature like that. They haven't put in that level of inner work. So you really aren't going to receive closure from the vast majority of people that you date. So knowing that, our goal shouldn't be to figure out methods and strategies for getting closure from people. It should be to work on ourselves enough to not even need closure in the first place. So how do you do that? Well, the most important thing here is to practice self-love. I mean, I sound like a broken record, but it literally is the most important part for, just creating a great life for yourself. Practice that self-love. It has a magical thing, or it plays a magical role when it comes to closure. Because if you truly love and accept yourself as you are, you'll start building your self-esteem and you'll know your worth. And with that, it will make it very difficult for you to get super broken when people ghost you or break up with you and they don't give you closure. Because now you'll have a good estimate of what you bring to the table, and you'll be like your own friend. If you practice self-love, you inevitably become like a sort of support system for yourself. And that means that you'll handle rejections like that way better. But if you know your worth, if you know what you bring to the table, it makes rejection hurt less, because now you'll be thinking, hey, I know what I bring to the table. This other person may be missing out. And I'm not saying this to give you a big head or a big ego. Not at all. Please don't become like arrogant and self-centered if you start thinking this way. You have to practice being humble along with this. But what I mean is, if you've worked on yourself a lot over the years, if you're trying to become a better person, then odds are you are a rare person. So if they're going to reject you, they're probably missing out. Now, I'm making a lot of generalizations here. I hope that you put in the level of work where that would be the case, but sometimes you could be early in your journey, so that's not quite true, or it could even be a situation where the person you were after does bring a lot to the table themselves, so it's like you both lose in that situation. But what I mean is, on average, if you actually work on yourself, then quite often the other person will be missing out more than you, because they'll be missing out on someone who has put in a lot of work and effort to become a better person, which means you would likely be a good partner for them. So that's their loss in that regard. But beyond that, that's just one of the ways that self-love can help you, because it helps you Start thinking better of yourself, because so many people disregard what they bring to the table. They have low self-esteem, so when somebody rejects them and doesn't give them any closure, they feel broken because they feel like they're the problem. And they feel like they're missing out on the other person, and this other person is super great because I was lusting after them and I liked them a lot. And well, if you think that way, then it's going to make it a lot more difficult to handle not receiving closure, because you're going to feel like there's something wrong with you. But that often isn't the case. It's their freaking choice, and who knows why they'd make it half the time. You never truly know. Maybe they found someone they like more, maybe they're emotionally unavailable, and you becoming a bit closer to them scares the crap out of them. Maybe they have issues from their childhood that they haven't worked through, so that plays a role. You never know. But what I'm getting at is it's quite often not your fault. So you don't even want to get into that blame game where you feel like it's all on you. That's stupid. That's ludicrous. And I hate to say it, but that's also being self-centered. Because why do you think that it falls on you like that? Why do you think that you're at the middle of this all when it could be due to so many other things? So get out of that way of thinking. It's not helpful. But anyway, moving on from the topic of self-love, another important thing for you to do here is just to put yourself first. This comes with self-love, of course, because the more you start practicing loving and accepting yourself as you are, doing things that you enjoy, and basically killing a lot of that negative self-talk you have up in here, it makes it so that you will naturally start to put yourself first more often. And that's a good thing, because so many people, when they're dating someone else or when they're in a relationship, they put that person, their romantic interest, as like their number one priority. And that's dumb. Why would you put them before yourself? That doesn't make any sense. I know there's like romantic ideals where it sounds like you should do that because of stupid romantic movies and entertainment media and other crap out there, but is that healthy? Really think about that. You're living your life, right? Is it healthy for you to put someone else before you like that? Remember if you've watched some of my previous videos, always remember that airplane analogy about how you should help yourself before you help other people if an airplane is crashing, if there's a hole in it and all the oxygen is getting sucked out, so you guys are going to run out of oxygen and suffocate if you don't put on those oxygen masks. They always tell you that you should put your mask on first before you help others put theirs on. And there's a good reason for that, because if you don't put yours on first and you immediately start helping other people and neglecting yourself, you become a liability. Now you could pass out while you're helping out someone else, and now they have to scramble to help themselves and then help you, because now you're going to pass out and die since you didn't help yourself first. So it's important that you put your mask on first, you help yourself before you help others. That same concept applies when it comes to putting yourself first. Make yourself your main priority in life, work on yourself, and take care of yourself, and then do the same thing for other people. But don't place them ahead of yourself. And also, it's not selfish to do that. Being selfish literally means you only care about yourself. You can put yourself first in your life and still give a shit about other people. So that selfish argument is stupid, it's moot, it doesn't apply here. So don't let that trip you up either. You are not selfish for putting yourself first. You're only selfish if you literally only care about yourself and you don't care about other people, which would mean you'd be helping yourself and not helping anyone else at all. That would make you selfish. But you can put yourself first and still care about others. But anyway, I was just going off on a bit of a tangent there because so many people think that it's bad to put yourself first, and I just don't understand that. It's a bunch of BS that we've been told from society and other people, and they're wrong. They're completely wrong in that regard. So don't feel any shame or any guilt for putting yourself first. And it will help tremendously with getting over closure because you won't really care. You'll be focusing on your own things anyway. If somebody doesn't want to make you an important piece of their life, then you'll just be like, whatever, man, I'm going to continue doing my own thing, and you can have fun finding other people who you may believe are better, whatever. You won't care as much. And now, this last thing that I'll share with you is also incredibly important, which is focus on choosing people who also choose you, and then just forget the rest. This one alone has helped me out tremendously. It's taken me a long time to embody this mentality, but seriously, it helps so much with your dating life because so many of us don't do that. We focus on choosing people who take us for granted or people who mistreat us. That's not good. Focus on choosing people who also choose you. That means when you give them your time and your effort, they'll reciprocate. People who aren't choosing you will not reciprocate your effort or your time. They'll take it for granted. They'll abuse it. They won't care about you. That's how you can tell who is choosing you. Because when you spend your time with them, they will return that. They're not going to be on their phone the entire date. They're not going to take 3 days to respond to your text messages or your phone calls. They're going to be available as much as you are for them. They're going to reciprocate your level of effort. So if somebody isn't reciprocating like that, they aren't choosing you. And as much as it may suck, that means you shouldn't give them any more of your time and energy because they're not going to return it. So what's the point? It's futile. It's literally a waste of your time and energy in that situation. It would be like pumping all of your money into an entrepreneurial venture that literally gives you less money than you're putting into it. And when you have another option over here that gives you like twice as much money as you put into it, but for whatever reason you like this one over here because it seems more flashy, but so you're putting all your money into the one that gives you less in return when you could just be going over here at the option that isn't quite as flashy, but you get double your investment out of it. So we tend to just not think logically when it comes to romance. I don't know why I was tripping up there. I was thinking of like romantic interests, but yeah. When it comes to dating and relationships, we just lose our ability to be rational. We start thinking with our monkey brain, which makes sense because it's all about procreation when you really get down to it. That's like the biological reason for it. So our logical brain shuts off completely and we get screwed by people who just aren't worth our time and effort. So the more you practice these things, it will get you to a place where you won't even need closure anymore. You won't care. You'll be choosing people who also choose you. So if somebody rejects you, you're going to be like, okay, whatever. They're not choosing me. I don't want to go after someone who isn't going to choose me because that's a waste of time and energy. So then you won't need their closure. You won't care. And you'll be practicing self-love and you'll be putting yourself first. So you'll be focused on making your life better. And if they don't want to be a part of that, who cares? That's potentially their loss. And you're going to move on without them because if they don't want a place in your life, you're going to say, okay, sure, there's the door. You can leave on your own. I'm not going to try to get you to stay. I'm not going to chase you because I don't care. I'm only going to focus on choosing people who also choose me. And then, as before, just always remember you won't even receive closure from anyone who isn't mature anyway. And that's like the vast majority of people. So it's in your best interest to practice those things that I went over that will help you no longer need closure anyway. So anyway, this video is getting super long. I'm going to end it here. But I truly hope you enjoyed it. And if so, the easiest way you can support me is just to like, comment, and share for the algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Arrivederci!